Welcome. Today we are looking at the Orchestrator's Blueprint, a strategic framework for unifying security operations through automation and response. As you can see on the left side of the diagram, many organizations currently operate in what we call swivel chair chaos. This represents the tangled, manual, and often overwhelming environment where security analysts must jump between disconnected tools and fragmented data sources. This inefficiency not only slows down response times, but also increases the risk of human error. By implementing intelligent orchestration, represented here by the central processing funnel, we can transform that complexity into the streamlined workflows shown on the right. This process filters and organizes incoming data into clear, actionable streams, unifying data management, proactive defense, and targeted response. Ultimately, this transition empowers the security team to move away from reactive firefighting and toward a more efficient, automated, and resilient security posture. The swivel chair effect represents a significant hurdle in modern security operations. As illustrated here, the security analyst is positioned at the center of a fragmented ecosystem, forced to navigate between disconnected consoles such as firewalls, email gateways, identity providers, and cloud environments. The reality is that these analysts must physically and digitally swivel between platforms just to perform basic tasks, copying and pasting IP addresses, verifying users, and manually blocking threats. This process comes at a high cost, characterized by extreme cognitive load and context-switching fatigue, which increases the likelihood of manual data transfer errors. Essentially, we have created an anti-pattern where the human analyst is forced to function as a manual API, serving as the only bridge connecting an unintegrated security stack. In our current landscape, security operations centers are frequently drowning in noise while remaining starved for context. As illustrated by this funnel, organizations are inundated with thousands of daily alerts, the vast majority of which lack the fidelity required for immediate action. This influx leads to three primary challenges. First, we encounter alert fatigue, where the sheer volume of low-quality notifications desensitizes analysts, increasing the likelihood that a critical event will be missed. Second, teams suffer from analysis paralysis. They are forced to spend a disproportionate amount of time gathering and correlating data instead of actively mitigating risks. The ultimate consequence is a heightened organizational risk, an increased mean time to detect, or MTTD. This delay creates a dangerously long window for attackers to navigate our systems undetected, highlighting the urgent need for better signal-to-noise ratios. To understand SOAR, we must examine what is known as the operational trinity. This framework defines the three core pillars that work in unison to modernize and streamline security operations. At the top, we have orchestration, which serves as the glue. Its primary function is to integrate disparate security tools through APIs. By bridging the gaps between traditionally siloed technologies, orchestration creates a unified ecosystem where different platforms can communicate and share data seamlessly. To the left, we find automation, described as the engine. This component focuses on the machine speed execution of repetitive, manual tasks. By automating standardized procedures, organizations can eliminate human error and handle high-volume alerts with far greater efficiency than manual processing allows. To the right is response, acting as the console. This represents the human element and the structural framework of the operation, encompassing case management and manual workflows. It provides the necessary environment for analysts to investigate complex threats and manage the lifecycle of an incident from detection to remediation. Ultimately, SOAR represents the convergence of threat management, incident response, and operations automation. It is at the intersection of these three disciplines where security teams find the scalability and speed required to defend against a modern threat landscape. The security stack ecosystem is composed of three core pillars that work in tandem to protect an organization's infrastructure: XDR, CM, and SOAR. Starting at the foundation, we have XDR, which acts as the sensor. It intakes raw telemetry to provide high-fidelity detection across endpoints and cloud environments. It serves as the granular eyes and ears of the system. Moving up, we find the CM, often referred to as the brain. The CM focuses on log aggregation, compliance, and anomaly detection. By processing logs from various sources, it provides the broader context and visibility needed for complex analysis. At the top of the stack is SOAR, which serves as the hands. SOAR takes alerts as input and facilitates action through automated workflows and remediation. It is where detection turns into a tangible response. To put this into perspective using the fire safety analogy provided here, the CM is what detects the smoke, XDR is what pinpoints the exact location of the fire, and SOAR is the coordinator that dispatches and manages the fire department. Together, these elements form a comprehensive and proactive defense strategy. This slide illustrates the anatomy of a playbook, which is the process of translating manual, standard operating procedures into machine-driven logic to achieve greater consistency and speed. The workflow begins with a specific trigger, such as a phishing email being reported by an employee. Once triggered, the playbook initiates the automation phase by extracting key indicators, specifically in URLs and attachments contained within the message. Next, the process moves into enrichment. During this stage, the system queries external intelligence sources like VirusTotal and checks the reputation of the associated IP addresses to gather actionable data. This leads to a critical decision point where the system evaluates the gathered intelligence to determine if the content is malicious. If the assessment is yes, the playbook automatically blocks the sender and quarantines the email, followed by a notification to the user. If the assessment is no, the system closes the ticket and notifies the user that the email has been deemed safe. By automating these steps, security teams can respond to threats in seconds rather than minutes or hours.
The transition from static runbooks to dynamic playbooks marks a fundamental shift in how we approach operational consistency. On the left, we see the traditional static runbook. These are manual, fixed instructions that rely entirely on human interpretation. Because they are subject to individual judgment and varying skill levels, they often result in inconsistent execution. Conversely, dynamic playbooks leverage automated workflows for machine execution. This allows for deterministic outcomes, where the same inputs consistently yield the same predictable results. Ultimately, the distinction is clear. A runbook tells a human how to do the work, while a playbook actually does the work. Security orchestration serves as the fundamental connective tissue of a modern security operations center. By utilizing robust APIs, a SOAR platform unifies defensive measures into a single, cohesive ecosystem. This integration allows a centralized platform to read from and write to the entire security stack, enabling both data ingestion for analysis and the execution of automated response actions. As illustrated, the SOAR platform sits at the center of critical operational domains. It bridges the gap between network infrastructure, endpoint security, and identity management systems. Furthermore, it incorporates threat intelligence for enhanced context and streamlines overall operations by coordinating tasks across the team. This unified approach eliminates silos and accelerates the speed of incident response. Focusing automation on high-volume tasks is essential to free our analysts for strategic hunting. We have identified 4 high-impact use cases that provide the greatest return on investment for security teams. First, in phishing triage, we automate the analysis of incoming emails and their associated artifacts. This allows us to process large volumes of suspicious messages quickly and consistently. Second, for vulnerability management, we use automation to enrich CVE data and facilitate auto-ticketing. This ensures that critical security gaps are identified and routed to the correct teams for remediation without delay. Third, identity response addresses the high frequency of compromised credentials and failed logins. Automated workflows can immediately isolate compromised accounts and prompt for further verification. Finally, cloud security automation focuses on remediating misconfigurations at scale. For instance, we can automatically detect and secure open S3 buckets, maintaining a robust security posture across our cloud environment. Integrating with DevSecOps is centered on orchestration to embed security earlier in the software delivery lifecycle. By incorporating security checks directly into the continuous loop of planning, coding, building, and operating, we transform security from a final bottleneck into an automated, ongoing process. A cornerstone of this strategy is the shift-left approach, which empowers teams to remediate vulnerabilities via pull requests well before deployment. We further enhance this by utilizing Sentinel as code, where security logic is managed as version-controlled code to ensure rigorous consistency and auditability. Additionally, infrastructure as code scanning is employed to catch potential risks within templates at the earliest possible stage.
This holistic orchestration ensures that SOAR and automated security checks are seamlessly integrated into our delivery pipeline, making security an inherent characteristic of every release. Automation serves as a critical cost-saving mechanism by transforming speed into a tangible business asset. As we examine the ROI of these initiatives, the impact is most evident across three key performance indicators. First, in terms of mean time to resolution, we see a dramatic reduction from hours to minutes. A prime example is phishing triage, which automation can compress from 30 minutes down to just 2 minutes. This rapid response leads directly to significant financial benefits. On average, resolving breaches in fewer than 200 days saves an organization $1.22 million, demonstrating how time to containment directly influences the bottom line. Finally, automation drastically expands our operational bandwidth. Strategic analyst capacity increases by more than 70%, allowing team members to pivot from manual labor to high-impact strategic work. Ultimately, the speed provided by automation is the foundation for both fiscal resilience and enhanced human productivity. The human-in-the-loop concept emphasizes that automation is a force multiplier, not a total replacement for human expertise. To avoid the automation paradox, where total system autonomy can lead to significant errors, destructive actions must require human validation. The process begins with a trigger that leads to a critical fork in the road based on risk assessment. For low-risk scenarios, we utilize a fully automated path that includes auto-enrichment followed by auto-closing. This allows for high-speed processing of routine events. Conversely, for high-risk or destructive actions, the workflow reaches a mandatory stop. This human-in-the-loop checkpoint ensures that no critical action is executed without manual approval. Once a person validates the data, the system can then proceed to execute the block. This balance maintains operational speed while ensuring safety and accountability for high-stakes decisions.
The evolution of operational response is transitioning from static logic toward agentic AI, moving beyond rigid workflows to systems capable of investigating low-fidelity alerts. Historically, we relied on manual runbooks, which consist of documented procedures executed at human speed. While reliable, they are fundamentally limited by human throughput. To address this, we shifted towards static playbooks, utilizing if-then logic to achieve machine speed. However, these playbooks remain constrained by their predetermined paths, making them brittle when faced with unpredictable scenarios. The next frontier is agentic AI. These systems are reasoning-based and adaptive, moving beyond simple automation to autonomous investigation. By leveraging advanced reasoning, agentic AI can interpret complex environments and adapt its strategy in real time, effectively bridging the gap between automated speed and intelligent decision-making. When selecting a platform, the first priority is the integration ecosystem. You need a solution that supports open API standards and offers extensive plugins tailored to your specific technology stack, ensuring that all your security tools can communicate effectively. Next, consider usability. Ideally, you want a platform featuring low-code or no-code builders to facilitate the rapid creation and deployment of automation workflows. The third pillar is robust case management. The system must provide detailed audit trails and clear timelines to document every step of an incident response process for both compliance and post-incident review. Some prominent examples of platforms that meet these criteria include Cortex XSOR, Splunk SOR, Swimlane, Tines, and Sentinel. Ultimately, the goal is to find a platform that strikes the right balance between power and ease of use, as this is key to minimizing engineering overhead and maximizing your team's efficiency. The journey toward operational excellence in security is mapped out here as the path to harmony. It begins with the first step: centralize. Through orchestration, we consolidate fragmented data sources and tools into a unified platform, creating the visibility required for effective management. Once we have a centralized view, we transition to step 2, standardize. This involves documenting and refining our processes into clear playbooks, ensuring that our responses are consistent, measurable, and based on proven best practices. Building on this foundation, we move to step 3, automate. By automating our responses to common alerts, we can mitigate threats at machine speed, effectively removing the noise that often overwhelms security teams. The final stage of this journey is to evolve.
Through the integration of AI and DevSecOps, we establish a cycle of continuous improvement where security is embedded into every layer of our development and operations. This progression leads us to the ultimate goal of harmony, a proactive and resilient security posture. As we move forward, our strategy remains clear: automate the noise and orchestrate the defense.